Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. I like to emphasise different parts of that title. And welcome to our 209th episode. You are with your High Priest of Khonshu, Ray. As always, glad to see you back. And for this episode, it is a first quarter moon. So as decreed by Khonshu, we'll be looking at Khonshu's relics. And that means for this episode, we'll be looking at Moon Knight in collected format and returning to the Khonshu Lounge, returning with a cocktail of some description. is some tea. Is Justin the Owl Osgood. Justin, a big welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you, loonies, for listening, as always.
Yeah, so Justin's returned later in this week here, and we're going to be talking about collected formats of Moon Knight. So for those of you that want to complete your collection, or those of you that want to speculate about what you'd like, we'll be covering all of that. Now, before that, of course, a huge thank you to the likes of Justin, our gracious patroonies, so is listed as co-producers and executive producers on each of the episodes. They're the loonies that help keep the lights on, so a huge thank you to yourself, Justin, but also Daniel, Derek, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Russell, and Anthony. I've got the cadence for that working really well. I'm very happy. Also, as well, a big thank you to our sponsors. One of them, of course, is Daniel and his creation, Fringe Knight. So an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. Go check it out. It is fantastic. Go check out his Patreon as well. Also, Hello Headphones, empowering gamers to play at their best, and Dreamland Comics, the superhero superstore. So, Justin,
Yes.
After our very enjoyable, entertaining chat earlier in the week about Egyptian characters and such, you had posited a topic for Khonshu's Relics, which is mainly based on collected editions of Moon Knight, yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to see maybe just some where the new series is coming out. I'm sure that we're going to see quite a ramping up of collected editions coming out as more interest in the character arises. So my thought was, well, we've already got 3 fantastic epic collections. I wonder what the next one would be. And that was kind of what started me thinking about this topic.
Yeah, and if we expand on that as well, I guess, because some listeners may know I love the epic collections, and it is always nice to think, okay, what package will they do? Because they do it really well. You know, they don't just they may do it just like consecutive issues, but sometimes they will add bits and pieces here and there if it kind of rounds out the arc that they're trying to show. So epic collections are really great in that sense. But certainly, yeah, there are 3 there currently. And yeah, what I thought, just a quick rundown first of what is available out there. So, Justin, you mentioned the Epic collections, which are fantastic. So they are currently, well, they are a little hard to find, but I know, I think by the time that this recording comes out, or maybe towards the middle of the year, they are going to reprint Volume 1, which is...
they are? Oh, good.
Yeah, which is Bad Moon Rising.
Yes.
And that covers a lot of the stuff prior to... and just starts the Mensch 1980 run, I believe. So we're talking about all the stuff from Werewolf by Night. There's the Hulk magazine stuff, I think.
Yeah, the Hulk magazine and
Defenders,
the Marvel. Yeah, the Marvel Spotlight.
Marvel Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah, I would consider that first epic collection to be the real treasure trove.
Oh yeah, absolutely essential in seeing how Moon Knight. Well, you can actually literally glean how Mensch was trying to work out the character first. He hadn't really decided, so it kind of flops between supernatural and mercenary and Egyptian. Really interesting. Second, then we get kind of the volumes 2 and 3, which literally just go through the Mensch run. And I think it ends on the Mensch run on 38 by Volume 3, Final Rest. So Volume 2, Shadows of the Moon, again, I think it's quite hard to find, but if you do your hunting, perhaps you might come across it. And finally, Final Rest, which I mentioned, which I think caps off the Mensch run. So a good, hefty collection there. Justin?
Well, I actually don't have Final Rest, the 3rd volume, so I was going to ask if you did, if you knew whether or not they had reprinted the backup stories.
Oh, yes. I've taken it here, so I'm just having a look. Moon Knight 24 to 38, so it definitely finishes off the Mensch run. I'm just going to flick through here, have a little look at the backup stories. I believe so. There's some really good stuff here. Let me see, because so for loonies would know that a lot of the Moon Knight issues were split up and they had secondary stories.
For a little while, yeah.
For a little while, yeah. Just having a quick look.
I can't remember which issue they started that with, but
yeah. So I'm having a look at 20.
I wanted to say it was after 25.
Okay, because I know we did some reviews on early. I think we're edging towards it, like 17, 18, 19. I know there were backup stories there.
There were? Okay, so it must have been earlier than I was thinking.
Yeah. So I'm looking at 24. I'm not sure if that had a backup story, but that doesn't have. That was just the Scarlet Fascinera one. 25 is a big Black Spectre issue. Just having a look. No, then we get that great hit it, 26, which was the music thing. I'm not seeing the backups here. If they were, which is a shame. Okay. You would think that they would put them in.
Yeah, and there was that great one that you and I like so much that shows Mark trying to find that treasure in the Incan temple or whatever.
Yeah.
It turns out to be the fake at the end.
That's right.
There were those great little kind of glimpses into Mark's past that we saw here and there.
Yeah. Well, that's I think that's in Shadows of the. Let me just have a quick check. If you bear with me, loonies. It's within arm's reach. So here we go. So volume 2. So we know definitely. Yeah. They have the backups, so...
Oh, they do? Okay.
I'm assuming they would do that in Volume 3 if there were any backups.
Okay.
Yeah, so very, very cool additions there. Now, just a quick rundown of the other soft trade covers, some of the soft trade paperbacks. So, of course, everything kind of gets released in trade after the floppies are issued. So, of course, we have the Houston and the Benson run. They were released in softcover, as well as hardcover. As well, they had the Marvel Limited Edition. So, you would have... I don't know what years they were. They would be around 2006 to 2009, Justin. They had the gold. I think
that there were 5 volumes altogether.
Yes. Yeah. And they came in softcover form, which is again pretty hard to find. So if you're lucky, or if you do eBay, you might come across them. Even more hard to find is the Vengeance of the Moon Knight trade cover. Trade
that one is very hard to find. Yes.
Yeah. So thankfully I've got a couple, and I know a little shout out to another loony, Low Hit. I saw on the in the group. He's got a couple of them too. They're very hard to find. But they're out there somewhere. The Bendis run is in softcover. I actually have not seen it in softcover, but I'm assuming it did get released in softcover.
I think it did. Yeah, I think it did.
But it certainly more recently got collected in hardcover format as one whole bound collection. So issues 1 to 12. It also got released. I got the older printing hardcovers when they released 2 of them, Volume 1 and 2. So
okay, there was 2 6-issue collections.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a Bendis run. The Ellis Wood and Bun run got released as a soft cover, of course. So you can still find them. I think someone put up in the group, really funny, they were going for a very expensive.
I saw that. I couldn't believe that.
It's got to be a joke.
My jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
But anything can happen with the TV show coming up and more interest in the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have the Lemire and the Smallwood run. That was in softcover, of course, but also got released as a hardcover, a complete set, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bemis run in 2 soft covers, I believe. And then there are other ones I've got here, like with Moon Knight appearing as as part of a team. More recently, I'm saying Damnation, Contagion, Serpent War, Acts of Evil have been collected in 1 volume. And I want to say the big Essential Collection run. So again, you can probably maybe find them around the traps from third-party sellers, but they cover the important thing about them. The Essential Collection run is that they do collect the Fist of Khonshu together. So so that's good.
Yeah, which is very nice. Yeah.
Albeit in the, I like it. Albeit in the black and white kind of newspaper stock.
Yeah.
Very cool as well. And then finally, just wanted to say the Omni. So recently as well, an omnibus, Hallelujah, has been released of Moon Knight. It says Volume 1, so we might get more. And again, we'll touch upon this. Yeah, we'll touch upon this, Justin, as well. But I think it collects a lot of basically what the Epic Collection does. I think maybe even, not all of them, maybe it goes from Epic Collection Volume 1 and 2. So it has a good slab of the Mensch run, plus all the previous appearances in The Defenders, Marvel Spotlight, Werewolf by Night, stuff like that. So, so there's a rundown of the existing collections of Moon Knight. As for speculation, Justin, so this is the fun bit. So you mentioned 3 epics of Moon Knight. What would you like to see next?
Well, I would like to see 1 volume that kind of collects not only the Fist of Khonshu series, but also Moon Knight's other guest appearances in the 80s.
Yes. The guest appearances. Right.
Yeah, because we have quite a few. And I think a lot of casual Moon Knight fans might not even know about them. We have an issue of Iron Man in there, which a lot of people wouldn't have suspected. We have a Power Man and Iron Fist issue.
That's
an
right.
issue of the Amazing Spider-Man. And there was a few other random things like Avengers Spotlight. There was one where Moon Knight faced the Shroud, which was great.
That's right. That was it a backup from, there was like a Hawkeye story at the beginning. Yep.
Right. And I think there were a couple of Marvel Fanfare. That was what I was trying to remember.
Ah, yes.
Do you remember those, Ray? Marvel Fanfare.
Yes.
There are a couple of amazing Moon Knight stories in Marvel Fanfare.
A couple of amazing covers as well, from memory.
Yes. Yeah. And again, it took a little digging for me to even find those. So, and this was a few years ago. So I would love to see those reprinted in some form, just to kind of get all of his appearances together for a completionist's sake, I think would be nice. The West Coast Avengers appearances, we can get those from those collections. Those are readily available, so that isn't necessary to collect independently. But everything else where he was a solo adventurer, those stories I think should be collected somewhere.
I like that way of thinking there, Justin, because you're right. I mean, he's very much part of a team in the West Coast Avengers, so it's not essential, although it's not unheard of that Epic collections do overlap and provide the same issues in different volumes. But absolutely far out. These are issues that generally may be overlooked as well. Like that Iron Man Moon Knight one was great. We covered that way back in the early days. They go into a submarine from memory. Stephen Grant. He gets invited by Tony Stark to go under, and that was a fun little romp. But also, yeah, far out, the spotlight ones, these ones you don't usually see picked up, but they are really fun stories. And that Marvel fanfare, I'm just thinking of that cover, and from memory, I believe it was like Mother Earth, it was Gaia.
Yeah.
Which is
it was such a great
really
story.
Yeah, very strange.
Really weird, and
Yeah, but
it's definitely Moon Knight, though. It's definitely a Moon Knight story in its uniqueness and its weirdness, and I just love it.
And it has to be it has to be kind of collected. It's really strange. I guess they paint themselves in a corner with the Epic collections because they try to do it chronologically, right? So these first three epics are literally they are labeled Volume 1, 2, and 3, and so it actually has bypassed. If I'm correct, I might be wrong. Maybe the likes of Marvel fanfare come after the Doug Mensch run, but from memory, I could be wrong, but from memory, I thought the Iron Man appearance by Moon Knight was in and around that time. So
it was, and I think that the Power Man and Iron Fist one was as well.
Yes, which is another one. Like it's quite. I mean, a lot of loonies in the group know of that in the fact that you see Jake Lockley. There's that loony famous panel of him just sitting there, part of the issue. So yeah, certainly. So they've actually missed that, which is a shame. But maybe I would like to see that maybe in like a second, like in an omnibus.
Volume 2 omnibus. I could see them throwing all of that stuff in there. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And speaking actually then of what we'd like to see in the, I'd love to see it in either an omnibus or in the Epic Collection format. Exactly as I say, Fists of Khonshu as well. But I wonder then if it would be Fists of Khonshu and then they get started into Mark Spector Moon Knight, because a lot of loonies have been crying out for some sort of complete collection or collected edition of Mark Spector Moon Knight.
I would love to see that too. I don't know if we're going to see that right away, though. I feel like that might still be a little bit of a wait.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, currently now, for those of you that are starting to get into Moon Knight, Mark Spector Moon Knight is really only available in, if you want to read the entirety in floppy format. I don't believe they have every single issue on Marvel Unlimited and Comixology. They've really only smattered some of it because it's a huge 60-issue run. It's the longest running Moon Knight series. As was the want during that time. So this day and age, we're lucky to get, Immortal Hulk is up to 50, which is unheard of. But we get a lot shorter runs, and they tend to be more like number ones and new volumes because, unfortunately, that's the way the market goes, and people love getting their early numbers. But Mark Spector Moon Knight, look, it could be split up into two mini omnibuses, because we're looking at about 30 odd issues each. I was going to ask if that's is it about 30 issues for each one? Okay. Well, I was just looking at my Namor omnibus by John Byrne. That has a hefty 45 or something like that. So, but that's huge. That's like a big 1,300, 1,500 page. So you can get them big, but I don't think you can get them any bigger than that. I could be wrong, because 60 is huge. So I think they'd have to split it up. And if they do include Fist of Khonshu and maybe those other appearances that you mentioned, then you'd get a decent sized 2 volumes out of that.
Yeah, definitely. I would love it if they collected Mark Spector Moon Knight. I know a lot of fans have been clamoring for that, and rightly so. It's a great series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, you would, if we were to look at the Epic Collection, there's a big possibility, Justin, that they might do somehow like a collection of the Infinity Gauntlet, or more importantly for Moon Knight, the Infinity War and Infinity Crusade, in which case you will get the Mark Spector Moon Knight issues there overlapping.
Right.
And as I mentioned with the Epic Collection, they like to collect things regardless of title, so you'd get a nice collection, similar to, say, Operation Galactic Storm, which they collected all the different titles. I wouldn't be adverse to that. I think that would be really cool. But yeah,
and you get to see Moon Knight in the Atlantis Attacks omnibus too. I just thought, because of the Punisher annual.
Yes, very tenuously kind of connected to Atlantis Attacks. I think from memory, reading that issue, very kind of tangential, but still part of it.
Yeah.
So
I would like to see that annual put in a Moon Knight.
Me too.
Collection as well, because he's great in that, and that has some fantastic artwork.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, just any team up with the Punisher is an interesting one. You don't know how they're gonna go about it. We know in the Mark Spector run, Punisher has an almost kind of respect for Moon Knight there because of his background. But then if you look at the Blood Brothers, which is further down the line in Mark Spector Moon Knight, there's a little bit of animosity between the two. So always interesting to see how those two tussle together.
And if I remember right, in that Punisher annual, I think the Punisher was, if I remember right, he was under the influence of the poisoned water.
Yes.
So it was actually Moon Knight who was saving the day in that one, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah, that's it's coming back to me now. But yeah, I think that's yeah. It was quite interesting. I remember Moon Knight, from memory, he almost like dehypnotizes or something the Punisher with a crescent dart. I think from memory, or he kind of reflects the light on him or something.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Some
weird
fast, flashy work with the fingers there. Yeah.
Just jumping around though, Justin, it's really interesting. Off the back of our 200th episode, and after having spoken with the great Declan Shalvey, I would like to see a hardcover of the Ellis Shalvey run. I think that would be cool. Just as obviously not an omnibus, but as a nice hardcover with, and again, I'm going to lift it off Declan Shalvey's suggestion, with perhaps re-released material of sketch material by Declan to back it up, to kind of plump it up.
I would love that. Yeah, I would love to see some character sketches and things like that. That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. Like he's got a lot of them. And the argument was from Declan is that Marvel has already released it as the Marvel monograph, The Art of Declan Shalvey. So it would actually save them money. Like, just reprint that again, but put it with the Ellis run. I think that'd be good. Alternatively, sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, Justin, you were about to say?
I was going to ask how many issues that was, if that would fill an entire volume.
Yeah, it's only 6, though, see? So I was going to say, alternatively, you could then collect, because they are kind of seen as one lump, you could put in the Ellis, the Brian Wood, and the Cullen Bunn run all together. So that would make 18. Which is quite nice, and then you put
that would be a nice volume.
Yeah, and then you put the Art of Declan Shalvey there. So that would be akin to maybe the size of a. We're looking at the size of an epic collection there, so around 400, maybe 500 pages, which is a nice little collection.
That would be a nice hefty volume.
Yeah. Are there any other runs you'd like to see re-released, reprinted?
Well, one question I was wondering is where they would put what I like to call them is the limbo years. The Resurrection War, High Strangers, the Marvel Comics presents that Hung Jury story.
Oh, yeah. Very good question. My gosh.
Yeah, I call that stuff the limbo years.
Yeah.
So I wonder where they would put that, if that would ever be collected, if it would be, in some type of an epic collection or an omnibus or whatever.
Well, the limbo years as well, but it is also quite important because that connects both Mark Spector Moon Knight, once that ended up, with the new millennium,
right,
going into 2000, and then we later get I think it must be that big gap. We get like an 8-year gap, 7 or 8 year gap, and then we get the seminal Houston run.
It was a long stretch in between there.
But that's very I wonder if they were actually released as trades as well. I haven't looked. I don't know if you know if they were just
those limited series were not. No,
we're not. No, yeah, because I've only got them as issues. Yeah.
Yeah, for a while I didn't have those, and I was kind of looking to see if there was a collection. I had to scour them on eBay, but yeah, I would like to see those collected because, like you said, they're important. They set kind of the link between those two series, and that is important.
Mm-hmm. And there is also, with Resurrection War, there's a return of Doug Mensch as well. It's a beautiful story with him and Tommy Lee Edwards, beautiful art. And it's like Mensch returning and I guess having to explain how to bring Mark back, which he does in a fantastic way, I think.
Yeah, it was very well done. Yeah.
But then you get that absolutely crazy high strangeness one. I love it.
Crazy. I do too.
It.
Yeah. Anything with Mark Teixeira doing that work, and I'm all about it. But yeah, it's a great little mini series. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Justin. I reckon Teixeira's Moon Knight is severely underrated. I think he does a really cool Moon Knight. We always talk about David Finch and Smallwood, of course, and Declan Shalvey, great interpreters of Moon Knight. But yeah, Teixeira does a really good Moon Knight, I think.
Absolutely. I agree completely. Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely important as well. I think as collected format, it would be nice, since, as you say, Limbo Years, and maybe Marvel, if you are listening, maybe call it Moon Knight: The Limbo Years. But like, lump those two together, right? Why not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that would be 8 issues plus some random stuff. That would fill a volume. Yeah,
that'll be. I mean, it doesn't have to be like. I mean, although I do love, the complete collections, which are substantially sized trades. I mean, I'd be happy with even, smaller trades. I was about to say I'd be happy with a trade of just Resurrection War and a trade of High Strangers, but no, I reckon that would be good together.
Yeah, definitely. There was also that nice, I almost forgot about this too, that hardcover collection of Moon Knight called...
oh, yes, Divided We Fall, is it? No?
No, it was the collection of the
Countdown.
Hulk magazine stuff. Countdown to Dark.
Countdown to Dark, yes.
Countdown to Dark. They could do something like that where they just collect a story in a volume. They could do that with those two miniseries. Do a nice little slim line volume like that. Yeah.
And Will Reyes, of course, that is another hardcover that we didn't mention that is out there. So a little bit hard to find. I'm still tracking one down. Justin, have you got it? Or
I did. Yeah, I do. I was lucky enough to find
awesome.
That years ago.
I might have to fork it out on eBay. But that's a great collection because the Hulk magazine stuff. Very different Sienkiewicz. I like that style as well. There's a bit more of the Neil Adams.
Me too. Yeah, and I love the use of color with that.
Oh, the color's beautiful.
Petrichor of color. Yeah,
and to have that in a nice kind of hardcover format is really good. So I'm trying to think of the other ones. Like the Lemire run has done well to be put in hardcover. Nice 14 issues there. The Bemis run, I wouldn't mind seeing as at least a complete collection because at the moment it's how many did he do? 188 to 200. So that's
12.
Probably do. Right. Probably do a thickish trade for that.
Could do an omnibus for that, I suppose. Yeah.
An omnibus.
12 issue omnibus.
12 issue. Yeah. Well, Deadpool has like a mini bus, right? A mini omnibus. I don't know how big that is, but look, I'm a sucker for hardcovers as well, so get them all in hardcovers.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, I would like the although I've got the trades of them and the comics of them, to have a complete collection. So, like volume 1 and 2, say, of the Houston Benson run, I'd love to see, because they have.
I'm actually missing those myself. Yeah.
Oh right. Because I mean, Marvel does do that. I mean, I'm looking at right now at my Hercules collection, and I've got all the hardcovers, the Incredible Hercules, but they have just released. They have released the Incredible Hercules Volume 1 complete collection, and I think they're going to release the second volume. So they're just nice to have because they're still very readable. Like omnibuses can be a little bit chunky to read.
Absolutely, yeah.
But when you have like a 400, 500 page trade, it's quite nice because you can just take that around with you.
Yeah, it's not like lifting weights while you're reading.
Oh gosh, yeah. And then trying to read what in the spine, or what do you call it, in the gutter? Oh god, sometimes the things get lost because it's just so thick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But so I mean, also I guess just in speculation into, I know we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but the Jed MacKay, the upcoming volume with Alessandro Cappuccio. Just your thoughts. Do you I don't know? Do you see it going beyond 12 issues, or is there a potential?
I hope so. I really hope so. I hope that we finally get one that goes up to 20 something.
Oh, that would be so
for
good.
a while. Yeah, please let us have that.
I guess it all comes down to, look, if anything, it all comes down to sales, and if anything, now's the best time than any for that to happen because of the upcoming TV show. So
absolutely, this is a perfect time for a new Moon Knight series. And that's why I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that we will get something that goes past 12 issues.
Yeah,
and that is hopefully a success.
Yeah. I'm hoping for if they can get to, I don't know, 15, 16 issues. If they get beyond 12, I'll be very happy. So I'm just thinking ahead, collected form. Definitely there'll be trades of that. I mean, because they write in arcs now these days, don't they? So you'll at least get issues 1 to 6, and then potentially 7 to 12. So we'll definitely be getting that from MacKay. I guess time will tell whether it is a successful and highly popular run, in which case we'll get a hardcover. But it's early days, I guess. Any other? I'm just trying to think of any other appearances of Moon Knight that we may have missed. I'm very impressed with you shouting out the likes of Avengers Spotlight and Iron Man and Iron Fist, and I think that's a great call, because as well we know Amazing Spider-Man and I think Spectacular Spider-Man, he pops up a couple of times as well to fight Cyclone. To fight Cyclone,
yeah, and that was in the first Epic collection,
Yes, that was collected in there as well. But you mentioned Amazing Spider-Man as well. Hang on, I've got a little, if you bear with me, just on my tablet, I do have a little running list of Moon Knight appearances and such.
Yeah, I had to dig deep for that Marvel Fanfare one, though, right? That one almost completely missed my memory, but I was like, don't forget that Marvel Fanfare. I made myself a mental note last week, and I'm glad
Marvel
it kicked in finally.
Oh, apparently it's a bit hard to include him, but the likes of, you're talking about the cracks, to fill up the cracks. There was a ROM comic, but I'm not sure if Marvel can do that now from property.
I think that one, if I remember right, the issue of ROM had everybody in it. Everybody in the Marvel Universe. Oh, wow. It was like everybody in the Marvel Universe versus the Dire Wraiths.
Right. Not Dire Straits. That's always, I always think of that. There's also 1982, so this was during the Mensch run. We have Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, which Moon Knight appeared in.
Oh, that's right.
So that could easily be covered as well. You mentioned Power Man and Iron Fist. That was in 1982, correct? Spectacular Spider-Man, 82. It would be good, I think, I'm not sure if it, but like in the official Marvel, the Handbook of the Marvel Universe, I think there's enough to we did a thing on Moon Knight transportation. There's a lot of articles and stuff I'd love to see collected somehow.
Yeah, I would too, about his gear and his weapons and his vehicles. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
And there were a couple of updates to his profile as well, so it would be good to see. Fanfare, as you said, of course. Marvel Age Annual is in that, which is a bit strange. Marvel Age is more of a like a newsletter thing, isn't it? From memory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have forgotten about that one.
Yeah. But Solo Avengers, I think that's turns up in Marvel Fanfare, as you say. Nick Fury versus Shield. I think it's a very small appearance there.
Cameo,
Yeah. He's in one of the Daredevil annuals, number 4, 89. that must predate Atlantis Attacks, right? I think it must be one before.
I think so. Yeah, I think Evolutionary War was the one before that.
Okay.
The big crossover before Atlantis Attacks.
Yeah. He was actually also in Doctor Strange 27. That was in 1991. Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. And then as we get into the 90s, so there are other ones here. Of course, Infinity Gauntlet, very brief. A What If, I don't know, What If 24, so I'm not too sure what that one was. Sleepwalker, number 7.
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And then, he's in Web of Spider-Man as well. He's in another What If. He's in Doctor Strange.
There was a great Web of Spider-Man, actually. There was a 2-issue story that he was the guest star.
Oh, yes, of course, with Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 93 and 94, Web of Spider-Man. That was good, actually. That was really cool. So he was suffering from his, decaying body, but he seemed to have super strength there. I remember that was written by Howard Mackey, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because if they do a collection of Mark Spector Moon Knight, I hope that they add that.
Oh yes. Yeah, because it really does tie, because, again, Kavanagh and Mackey, they work well together. But yeah, there's a few here. Marvel Knights as well, of course. Moon Knight. But again, he's part of an ensemble. As you mentioned, I'm not sure if that really does count, but he, maybe there'll be a Marvel Knights. There is a Marvel Knights omnibus already. Maybe
is there? Oh.
There is, but I think it's actually all Daredevil from memory. It's got the cover of it's a Quesada cover. It's got Daredevil and Spider-Man, and they're kind of looking sideways. I think, because I know for the Daredevil completionists, apparently that omnibus is essential because it covers a lot that isn't available in print for Daredevil. So it might be a lot of Daredevil stuff. Yeah. And just running through this quickly here, Thunderbolts, Moon Knight appears, apparently. 2004, he's in the Avengers, in 501 to 503, and House of M as well. But again, you can collect that in its own, right. It's part of an event in itself.
And I think that Avengers one is in the collection too.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a fair few appearances here. But yeah, it's looking like most of them would be part of something bigger. Not like like this other thing I'd love to read. Have you read Chaos War?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did. I didn't read all of it, but I read bits and pieces of that. And I really liked that, because that had to do with all the different pantheons and gods and things. Yeah.
Exactly. I've actually found that there's a just for listeners out there, a little tidbit here. Book Access, I think, online. If you look at that, they're an online bookstore from Malaysia. Have really great deals, and I'm not sure how that translates to our loonies over in the US, but certainly for Australia, kind of cheapish shipping, and very cheap. Like Justin, I found one of my huge white whales. It's a Captain America Epic Collection. It's the Bloodstone Hunt.
I love that one. Yes,
and it is going for, I think, equivalent US price, something like $15 US.
Oh my goodness! Wow,
it's crazy, isn't it? Like
that's 15 a steal. Wow.
Yeah, like $12 to $15, because it's $18 Australian, which is
oh my word,
which is ridiculous. So I've snapped it up straight away.
Oh god, yeah.
So loonies, go check it out. Seriously, Book Access online, and I think I saw Chaos War as well, which is another one of my whales, going for like $5, which is like $3 US.
Very nice.
Crazy. Wow. They are I think they are secondhand, and a lot of the books might have remainder marks. So for those of you that do collect trades, remainder marks are those black felt tip marks that booksellers put on the top or the bottom of the book, meaning excess stock. So whether or not that's an issue for you, we'll leave it up to you, but they do sell a lot of stuff super cheap, and you might find what you're looking for over there. So just a bit of a shout out there. But Justin, having again a look at all this stuff, Onslaught as well, Moon Knight apparently appears in.
Oh gosh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Secret Avengers, there is a collected edition already. I should shout out that. Is it the Remender or the Brubaker? I can't remember, but Moon Knight is...
Mission to Mars.
Yes, that's the one.
Was the name of the one of the volumes. Yeah.
Yep. So a complete collection has been released already on that a while ago. So that's certainly something worth getting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Secret Avengers is great.
Yeah. But, I mean, we are venturing into, Justin, into these Moon Knight appearances or parts of an ensemble. If we can keep it really distilled, basically, I think, as you said earlier on, those earlier... issues of Moon Knight can be easily collected. In particular, Web of Spider-Man into the Mark Spector run. I think that really works well. There are other ones like, I think we've covered it on the show. He appears in the Hulk magazine where they go to Las Vegas. Joe Fixit is there. Moon Knight, and I think it is the Sentry arrives as well. Anyway, it's a weird one. It's really not connected to anything. Those sorts of ones, it would be hard to find in the collected format. But for the completionists, you'd want it in somewhere. So,
and some of those I haven't even heard of. Some of those you were mentioning, I haven't even heard of some of those. So,
they're great. Well, just in case, Justin, it is, I think it's Hulk. It says he Hulk 7, 8, and 9. Not big, So, definitely go check that out as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Any other final thoughts for collected editions here, Justin? Before we wrap up.
Like I said, I'm optimistic. I think we're going to see something nice in the next year or two. We'll see a nice few releases coming over the horizon. Personally, I'm missing a few chunks, so I would be very happy to fill those in my collection. I'm missing the first 2 collections of the Houston Benson series. The Bottom and Midnight Sun, both of those volumes I missed out on. I'm missing all of the Vengeance of the Moon Knight series. I don't have any of that in physical form. I've read all the stuff digitally, but I don't have it physically. So I would love to have a collection of those.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will see that. I think, honestly, the next collection we're going to see is probably something to do with Houston and Benson.
Yes.
Or the Ellis, Wood, and Bunn series.
Yeah. My money is on the Houston one, I reckon. So, and look, to be honest, I think I'd be just as excited for reprints of them as well.
Yes,
as
absolutely.
as well as reprints of, say, something that we've been waiting for, like Mark Spector, Moon Knight, or Fist of Khonshu. Because at the moment, Fist of Khonshu, I've got in the Essential collection, but it's black and white. I'd really love it in a collected format in color. That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. But the Houston run for sure. Fingers crossed, Justin. Anything is possible with this TV show. Hopefully they might re-release the Vengeance of the Moon Knight as well for you. So
I'm hoping
that would be really good. We're just going through our wish lists now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So listeners as well. Again, it'll be interesting to know, like, what would your favourite, or what are you looking forward to the most, as in collected format for Moon Knight? Have you got the omnibus ready? Are you looking forward to Mark Spector Moon Knight? What of these other smaller issues that we've just mentioned as well? Have you read them, and would you like to see them? How would you like to see them formatted in collected format? All very interesting indeed. But it's good I guess it's nice to say, Justin again. The tomes of evil have infiltrated my mind.
Creeping into your brain.
It is. Oh gosh, I feel possessed. Suffice to say, Justin, I guess there's plenty of material for Moon Knight out there, and we've just got to really just sit back and wait and let Marvel do its thing with the TV show coming out.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll have some nice collections ready for us before too long. It will probably depend on a lot of things, how the other volumes sell,
Yep.
how the TV show does, how this new series performs as well.
True.
The new series we're getting this year.
Yep. I was about to say also as well, do you think it will be dependent on potentially on who Ethan Hawke might be? You know, would they release a collection of, say, if Ethan Hawke was, you know, just say the Sun King? Would they? You reckon they'd probably cash in on doing a trade paper of all the Sun King appearances?
I could see that, or if he was Black Spectre, I could see like a Black Spectre collection, collecting all those appearances, which would be great.
Certainly
I would love that. Yeah, that would be really cool.
So, listeners, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, before we go, Justin, we've just got a little bit of feedback. Thanks once again from YouTube. So this is for episode 207, which was when Russell, the guy that has seeped his name into my brain, that was when Russell and I reviewed for a Lunapic Modern Run review, The Vengeance of the Moon Knight, just what we're talking about, issue 5. So this is
Scarecrow.
From Scarecrow, right? Yes.
Yeah.
There was funny discussion in the group, Justin, with this, because I posted up the cover of it. And Loonies were saying, they were basically face in hand, going, you know, they always liken him to the other guy, and what do they expect when they have a villain called Scarecrow up against him well? And it was a bit obvious, the comparisons. But you know, Scarecrow is as Russell said, is mainly a Ghost Rider villain. So, and in the issue, he didn't feature that much as well. So,
and he is very different from the DC villain. I mean, they are not really the same person.
I learned from Russell that he's a contortionist, which is kind of scary to think about as well. Yeah,
he's
awesome.
a really creepy villain.
Yeah, I love it. So anyway, CMK7, beep boop, beep boop boop, aka Chris, thank you so much again for your feedback. And Chris says about 207, another great review, guys. I very much enjoyed this overview of this landmark run. So he highly regards it, which is cool. And it is a very nice. I mean, I think it's very underrated. And Chris says, and it is a very fun, entertaining run with tons of high points. My only minor gripe is out of all the runs, this one has the most obvious comparisons to another rich caped vigilante, particularly panels showing off the Moon Cave. I guess that's fair to say, Justin.
That is fair, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't make that correlation, but if you look at the earlier issues of that run, he runs into the Sentry, which again a lot of people can liken to Superman.
Right.
So so Horitz, I wonder if he's playing around there with the series. Chris goes on to say, I also totally agree with Russell. The Committee would be an ideal main antagonist for Mark in the Disney Plus series. Yeah, very good. At least early on. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ethan Hawke's character is a committee member, who is a mashup amalgam of Moon Knight's past mastermind villains. Ooh, Conquerlord, Lupinar, and Arsenal. At least this is my speculation. Thank you so much, CMK7. That's really cool. Justin, thoughts on the Committee?
I like that. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
I like the idea too of a mashup, of an amalgam of a bunch of different characters. I think that's a great idea.
Well, again, it's not uncommon in the Disney Plus and the MCU of them kind of mixing characters together. So certainly, I'd love to see the Committee. I'd love to see Moon Knight against this kind of faceless corporation. But, you know, obviously, if Ethan Hawke is part of it, maybe, you know, he's a representative of it. I think that'll be really cool to see. As for a mashup of Conquerlord and Lupinar and Arsenal, geez, CMK7, Chris, I think that would be a sight to behold.
Well, he'd have to have a rat in one of his pockets or something.
Yes, and a wrestling mask for some reason. But no, a huge thank you for that feedback. And and again, listeners, feel free, please, to send in feedback on this episode, on our previous episode on Egyptian superheroes. Always fun to hear from you, and it's always fun to just chat and discuss on the show, on the subsequent shows. So please get in your thoughts. We highly appreciate it. Well then, Justin, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode 209. Thank you so much once again for taking the time out to chat everything Moon Knight.
Oh, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, and I have a brief plug too of an adventure that Russell and myself are embarking on regarding the shadow in comics. Yes. The Weeds of Crime is the name of our show, which is all about the shadow in comics going back to the 70s. And it's a Patreon exclusive for the Tomes of Evil. So if anybody's interested, they should definitely check that out.
Yes.
We just started the new series. I think the first episode dropped this week. So it's a good time to start.
Oh, absolutely. And I urge you listeners to give it a go as well. It is a Patreon exclusive, but go in there, support your podcasts. Tomes of Evil is doing great stuff there. And to have Justin and Russell together as regular hosts, it's certainly a treat to behold. I've loved that first episode, Justin. Keen to learn more about the Shadow. And again, your knowledge, and coupled with Russell's, you're in good hands, listeners there. These guys know their stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's another episode too, another Patreon exclusive called Sentinels of the Supernatural. I was a guest on that as well. Yeah, and that's dealing with just the supernatural characters of the DC universe.
Yes. Is that a recurring hosting gig for you there, Justin?
I won't be a regular co-host on that one. I was just a guest on this one, but there will be, I think, a rotating cast of co-hosts for that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, certainly, again, listeners, if you like what you hear with Justin, and he certainly does, I always learn a lot from you, Justin, every time you're on.
Oh,
here.
thank you.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and your memory is just remarkable. I read that West Coast Avengers thing only last night, and I already forgot his name. And you go, oh, that's Dominus. You mean? Oh, yeah, that's the one. Gosh, jeez, put me to shame. It's absolutely amazing. So,
thank you.
I'm glad someone has a working brain. That's good.
Well, I can't say it works all the time. When it comes to comic book stuff, it's usually infallible.
Oh, that's fantastic. So a huge thank you once again, Justin. It's always great to have you on, and again, you're welcome anytime as well.
Thank you very much. It's always a great pleasure.
Yes, and next phase, Loonies. It will only be one episode next week, only again because it takes a little bit of time with some editing stuff. And yes, it's a waning gibbous. It's going to be a moonwalk. So again, it's going to be an audio reproduction of a random Moon Knight comic of choice. And guesting, again, he's like that little kernel, the little seed in my brain. Jack Russell.
Give me a keg of beer.
Moran. He'll be returning with his vocal talents. And Justin. I forgot to say, Justin, yourself as well. You're keen?
Yes. I read that issue the other night, and I think I have some ideas about who I can do justice for. Yeah.
Well, I won't put you on the spot now, but Justin will be voicing some additional characters. So I know Russell at least will be doing Khonshu, Black Spectre, and Crawley. He'll be voicing those. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And Justin, you'll have a part or parts. We'll have a little discussion off air. It should be very exciting to hear. But that will be next week. Probably come towards the end of next week. It's Moon Knight Volume 5, Issue 18. So that's by Benson and Texera. It's a Black Spectre run. It should be good.
Yeah, great story. Yeah.
Yeah. As always, Loonies, as mentioned at the top of the show, please consider checking out our Patreon page, patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. There's plenty of stuff there. Hopefully, like Justin and I, we did a bonus episode not that long ago.
Yes, that was great fun. Yeah,
heaps of fun. So I'm looking forward to potentially releasing more bonus episodes. I really want to dive into maybe, Justin, I was looking, maybe, I don't know if you're keen, again, I'm putting you on the spot, maybe something Egyptian mythology centric. Like, I want to get into, like, tangents of Moon Knight. So I'd love to dive into the mythology of Egypt, Egyptian gods, and maybe we can do a bonus episode on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super. Yeah, we should do that.
So please check it out, Loonies, if you haven't already, and it'd be very much appreciated. As also mentioned, Hello Headphones. If you use the code ITK Moon Knight, you'll get 10% off their online store. Similar with Dreamland Comics, if you use the code MOON, you'll get 20% off your comics. So have a look for those Moon Knight appearances, such as the solo Avengers or Power Man and Iron Fist, to get your your collection. We're also an affiliate member with Entertainment Earth, so all of your action figure needs, just please click the link in the show notes, and that will help support the show as well. And finally, we are part of The Collective, a bunch of fantastic shows. Go check them out. They do great work, all superhero, comic book related, pop culture related. So the likes of, I've got to give the shout out to Tomes of Evil as well. The one that Justin and Russell are on, Tomes of Evil, a super villain podcast, sorry. And the likes of, I'm just going to shout out Signal of Doom, fantastic there, run by Dave Finn, and also the Collected Edition by Paul Matthew Carr, doing good work as well. So keep an eye out on that. The link to the collective shows is in the show notes as well. Finally, you can contact us, email itkmoonnight@gmail.com, as well as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Get Vocal. We've got websites and Podchaser. And on that, Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, if you'd like to leave a review, that would be greatly appreciated. Not only will it stroke our ego, but it will also help get the show out there just a bit more. So we'd love to touch base with a lot more loonies who may not know about the show, may be keen. So there you go. I think that about wraps it up. Justin, once again, a huge thank you. I'm looking forward to our Isla Ra down the track.
That's going to be super fun. Yeah,
that is going to be, with your knowledge, it's going to be fun. We're going to go jet setting around based on your comics. It should be heaps of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, loonies as well. As always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.
I am Connor from the House of L.
And I am Ray from the House of Zod.
We are two of the many survivors of Krypton's destruction, and we have made our home in Australia, and dare I say have become Australians, for better or worse. But we have also decided to read Superman comics, read Superman books, watch Superman shows, cartoons, movies, basically everything Superman, and from an Australian perspective as well. Whether you're a seasoned fan, like me,
or whether you are coming in fresh, wide-eyed and wanting to learn more like me, then this podcast is for you. Join us for our bi-weekly adventures available on all good podcast catchers.
So just search for Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. We'll be coming to you from Australia or some cosmic dimension, wherever we are that week. Up,
and away.